The Japanese samurai uprising of 1877 was the last stand of excellent warriors against the reforms carried out by the Japanese government in the spirit of the Meiji Restoration. The last samurai rebellion in historiography goes by several different names, which are used interchangeably. The Rebellion of Seigo Takamori, the Satsuma Rebellion, and is used in Japanese historiography Seinen Senso, which means the war in the southwest. Japanese Emperor Morihito, Meiji, won the Boshin Civil War against the supporters of the Tokugawa shogun and carried out a number of internal reforms. Their task was to abolish the feudal system and centralize the state. Large feudal lords had to recognize the emperor's power over their lands, and the samurai class was abolished and deprived of privileges and salaries. A national army was created in its place. Riots began. The samurai were not happy with this. The emperor's army began to suppress scattered pockets of resistance. The most powerful resistance was provided by the Satsuma samurai. The samurai troops were led by Seigo Takamori, the famous samurai of his time. The humble vassal of the Shimazu clan turned out to be so talented that he led the troops of the clans that supported the emperor and defeated the armies of the Tokugawa shogunate. In order to have sufficient supplies of modern ammunition, and not to use ancient muskets, it was necessary to storm the powerful fortress of Kumamoto. Seigo believed that her garrison of peasants was no match for the samurai. He, indeed, put the government troops to flight, but the garrison of the fortress did not surrender. While Seigo was besieging the enemy stronghold, supporters joined his army and it grew to 20,000, then to 30,000 people. Many desperate samurai perked up. At first, the emperor did not believe that Seigo was personally leading the uprising, but once he was sure, he stripped him of his titles. The imperial army arrived to the rescue of the besieged. It was trained and armed according to modern European standards, almost 57,000 people. It was led by Prince Arisugawa Trihito. The prince refused to negotiate with the Satsuma samurai. Seigo Takamori left part of his troops to besiege Kumamoto. He personally led 15,000 samurai who took up defensive positions on Mount Tabaruzuka to block the path of Arisugawa's 9,000-strong corps. The rebel army, which put up desperate resistance, was defeated. One of the reasons was the lack of ammunition for modern guns and heavy rains, which made older guns shoot much worse. The bloody battle lasted for several days. Both sides lost approximately 4,000 people, but the imperial army was victorious. Having lifted the siege from the Kagoshima fortress, government troops on May the 27th drove the rebels out of the camp near the village of Hitoyoshi and began to pursue the retreating rebel units, forcing them to switch to guerrilla warfare. Short of ammunition, samurai returned to traditional spears, bows and katanas. The imperial army surrounded the rebels, and the samurai had to fight each battle in increasingly unfavorable conditions. The enemy's numerical superiority and catastrophic lack of ammunition were one of the reasons for the defeats, and constant retreat to avoid encirclement. There are two versions of how Seigo Takamori, the last samurai commander, died. Either the wounded warrior committed ritual suicide and, according to tradition, his head was cut off, or he died from enemy bullets, but in order to preserve the dignity of his general, his loyal comrades beheaded him. This is how the last samurai perished, who followed the code of Bushido to the end not only in letter, but also in spirit.